deeply hurt me was that this is exactly what the Sierra Leone forces did. They played into the hands of the rebels or the invaders, and when they caught an innocent Sierra Leone soldier, however much he would protest against the allegation that he was a traitor, however much he would try to prove that, look at my family, my ties. I was a helpless young man. They were shooting everybody who would refuse to play their game. So I had left no choice but to follow. But they would slaughter him mercilessly in the sight of everybody, as if to scare people away from rebellion. It worked exactly in the opposite. It achieved exactly the opposite result. So they knew then that what warning was served to them was right. So willy-nilly they have been turned into rebels. If, on the other hand, the Sierra Leone army had treated them with respect and love and tried to disbrief them if they had been briefed wrongly earlier, and wash their brains or whatever influence was imprinted on them by the rebels, I'm quite sure the other rebels, the so-called rebels, also whenever they have found an opportunity, they would desert the army of Mr. Taylor and turn back to their own country. So that is a very, very tragic mistake which has been committed, which is resulting in the prolongation of this most despicable situation.
Thank you. My next question, I would like you to forgive me about it because I was taught about it in school, but I forgot about it. Who was the first missionary sent to Sierra Leone? That's how he started his teaching and which part of Sierra Leone?
Which one? Is he talking about the first missionary? Yeah. Oh yes, that's right. It was late Maulana Nayyar Sahib ka pura naam kya hai? Abdul Rahim, that's right. Late Maulana Abdul Rahim Nayyar, who had a very imposing personality. I remember him as a child. He used to wear green, long green robe and a green turban. He had a flowing beard and very noble face. His style of address was also very impressive. So he was the first Ahmadi missionary to reach Sierra Leone soil, and it so happened that the first gathering he addressed was about 10,000 people in one large area where the chiefs had cooperated and gathered his followers. And before that, there was a noble, some divine, some holy man in the area who had seen a dream that Imam Mahdi has appeared. It was a Muslim area, and somebody representing Imam Mahdi would come here. He would be dressed in green, and he saw exactly the figure of this missionary Maulana Nayyar in his dream and told his people that this is what is going to happen. When he comes, they should accept the message. So when he started addressing, everybody remembered the dream of that late holy person who was not alive at that time, but the message was very strongly imprinted on the minds of the people. So they remembered, and they all accepted Ahmadiyyat as one lot. And that telegram created a great stir in Qadian, when after a few days of his arrival in Sierra Leone, in Qadian, a telegram reached addressed to the then Caliph, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih Sani, the second head of the community, that Alhamdulillah, an army of 10,000 have accepted Ahmadiyyat, and with the grace of Allah they have joined. There was a great celebration in Qadian, great stir. But that was only the beginning of a future which we are witnessing nowadays. Last year, it was around 100,000 Sierra Leoneans who accepted 60,000 or what, total, out of the total of 200,000 some, largest was the Sierra Leone's share. Do you remember how many there were? Beyond 50, I'm sorry. This year they have promised, yes. As I was telling you, I remember there was something wrong with my figures. They, 53,000 of the 200,000 of the whole world was Sierra Leone's. And encouraged by that great success, they promised that next year, inshallah, would try to reach the figure of 100,000. Now, unfortunately, these disturbances have taken place, but still the news which is pouring in is quite encouraging. It is Allah who would grant us that success. So this time, inshallah, I hope this will be a real army, 10 times the first number of troops which entered Ahmadiyyat during the first entry of Major Sahib.
The next one is about roughly, according to the last session and census in Sierra Leone, the population of Sierra Leone is about approximately 5 million people. I'd like to know from that time how the Ahmadiyya mission, or how far it has been expanded.
We don't know. We have not kept any count. But we know for certain that last year it was 52,000 who joined, and previous to that it was around 40,000 who had joined Ahmadiyyat. And the pace is increasing. One thing which I saw was that wherever I went in Sierra Leone, there were Ahmadiyya boards. Everybody in Sierra Leone knew what Ahmadiyyat was. That is one country where nobody had to introduce Ahmadiyyat to anybody. You say Ahmadiyya and they of course understood. And the good thing was that they always responded with love and appreciation. So much so that when in those days, there was a great problem Sierra Leone government was facing. Diamonds were being smuggled through all possible routes to Liberia and across. So it was decided by the government that almost at every 10-20 miles there would be a checkpost, and police would stop all cars, all buses, and they will be searched and searched for diamonds. But maybe after a few leones they would leave the passengers alone. But this was very bothersome. So we requested the police or the Home Department to provide my convoy with some sort of papers which we could show at these places, so that they could leave us alone. They said, no papers are needed. You paste, a token on your cars telling Ahmadiyya Muslims. That's enough. And that is exactly what happened. Our cars were pasted with tokens, like before going to the ferry for crossing the channel, something is pasted on your car indicating that this car has been checked. Nowhere were we stopped. They had full trust that if it is Ahmadiyya, they will not be smuggling. So this is a great, I see, proof of their trust of Ahmadiyya message. The number must be quite some. I mean.
Having got the rough estimate, how these people have been converted? Is it from their childhood or at their adult age?